Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 151 of Husavik Heroes here on Shaun Does FM. I hope you are doing well, and coming up in today's episode is the second leg of the first knockout round. It is locked up at 2-2 as we are about to take on Manchester City at the Laogaras Vola. Before that, we'll do a little domestic check-in as well as an update on what the teams do look like going into the second leg, and off the back of this, hopefully we'll have a quarter-final or semi-final draw depending on the result, as well as a transfer update. So if you are looking forward to today's episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying this series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated. But if you did miss the first leg in yesterday's episode, I'll leave a link to that in the top right corner. Quite important. We do go into the second leg of this first knockout round locked up at 2-2 off the back of that first leg at the Etihad game, which I felt like we actually could have won. A few defensive mistakes there did prove costly, but hopefully there was enough good signs there that we can take the advantage here in this second leg. Back in Iceland, as you can see on screen already, PSG, Man United, Bayern Munich and Benfica have guaranteed themselves a path through to the quarterfinals. It is us and Ostende on this last match day, because also Barcelona and Arsenal are through to the quarterfinals already as well. But before we do get into the second leg, a quick domestic update off the back of yesterday's episode. We've carried on a little bit further in the League Cup and 3 quite comfortable wins there, or at least 2 of them, against KV by a scoreline of 8-0, as well as Acronis by 7-0. That was with our first 11, so that's some good form coming in to the second leg. Then a more narrow win against Hafnarfjordur away from home. Now, Lech Voskanyan, one of our young promising strikers, he picked up a goal off the bench with about 15 minutes left, which just gave us a win there, which could be quite important. We are top of the group with 1 game left, and that is against Proto Reykjavik. So that is going to be a do-or-die clash there to see who does top that group and make their way through to the semi-finals for the League Cup this season. But as you might have been able to tell by that meme intro, Manchester City actually potentially a little bit weaker than they were for that first leg. Para, he is out of the second leg, albeit not too sure if that's going to impact them quite as much as we would hope, because that just means that they can bring in Karim Adeyemi up front. They've also got Leonard back at centre-back. He was on a red card for that first leg, and looking at him briefly, he does look like a very, very good centre-back. So Man City probably not that much weak in there, despite missing Pala for this second leg. In terms of us, Karel Giroud has recovered from that injury he picked up late in that first leg, but he's not quite on a full green heart. So because of that, we're just going to leave him there off of the bench, and it will be Brynjar Galtason coming on to that bench for him. But apart from that, that is our only change. The exact same squad that did play in that first leg in yesterday's episode and nearly got us an advantage to take back here to Iceland. But hopefully we can do the job here at the Laogaras Vola and pick up our first win against Manchester City in this save. Yesterday was our first draw against them. Hopefully we can continue to improve and finally get the better of them here in a 90-minute game. Otherwise we will be going to extra time and potentially penalties. But that's all we need to cover off pre-match before this one. We'll come back shortly from the Laogaras Vola, locked up at 2-2 for the second leg here of the first knockout round in the Champions League. And just about to get into the match, we'll show you guys the team sheets for this one, just to make sure City were what they looked like before on the club info page as we ran through before though. There is what we look like as we suspected. Adeyemi up front and also Renard coming back at centre-back alongside Ruben Dias, locked up at 2-2 here to start off the second leg. And 3 minutes into this one, we have a corner nice and early. Basaro Gay near post did score a goal against them from a corner in the Champions League final. Unfortunately, that one goes wide and not too long off the back of that highlight. About a half minute later, we start off again with a goal kick to Manchester City. So hopefully that shows we're on the front foot here nice and early, albeit Nets there makes far too much ground down the left-hand side, albeit we do get the ball back and look to get something going here. Down our right-hand side, Filippo Donelli will play that back to Hurlurvik, pumps it deep and nowhere near any of our players. So Man City will get another chance here right around the halfway line, albeit they pass that all the way back to Van der Voort, who was potentially guilty in yesterday's episode of letting in a bit of a soft goal, but we don't mind that. Hopefully that happens again in today's episode. And Sufadi will play that up for Erling Haaland. Now Nets now down the left-hand side will put this one into the mix. Oh, great chance for Adeyemi, but thankfully misses the target. Pretty sure Paramaya scored that one, and it's still 0-0 after 7 minutes. And going forward now to the 10-minute mark, we were briefly on the attack there, but Man City back in position, and yet again get inside our half. Adeyemi plays a ball there, and Erling Haaland one-on-one with Will Lervik. I thought he might be offside there, but thankfully Will Lervik does make the save, and indeed he was onside, so that is a relief. Big chance there for Erling, but a good save there from our goalkeeper. Nothing doing off the subsequent corner, and it's still locked up here after 11 minutes. And only a few minutes off the back of that previous highlight, back down Man City's end here for a corner. They do miss the target there, but Yusuf Demir will get possession back for them. Ruben Dias tries to fire one there. It does fall to Saki off the deflection, and hopefully we can get something going here on the counter-attack. Kalen Rakasan, nice ball over the top here for Saki. Long distance shot, forces a good save there though out of Van der Voort, and we will get a highlight hopefully out of that, despite the fact that we did encourage the players. So indeed, we still get a corner. Doumbia near post, Filippo Donelli, just like Basaroge in last year's Champions League final, puts that top right corner, and after 16 minutes, it is Völsungur 1, Man City 0, and we are ahead early on here in the second leg. It's a nice header there from our new Belgian centre-back, and we are a goal up here early on in the second leg. And only a few minutes off the back of that opening goal, we do have a throw in here inside the opposition half. Hopefully we can put the foot down here and maybe get a cushion goal. We try and play that one in to Lassana Doumbia, albeit he will still get that off the back of that somewhat clearance from Ansu Fati, and we camp here just outside of the box of our English opposition. Nice ball here from Kalen Rakasan. Nicholas Zimmerman puts that top left corner, a quick fire double, and we are now 2 goals in front here in the home league. Will we finally get the better of Manchester City in 90 minutes? Some good pressure here right on the edge of the box. It's a man who wanted to join Man City in this past transfer window with the nice ball there for Zimmerman. Puts that top left corner, and we are 2-0 up here after 20 minutes. And 10 minutes shy of half time, we do have our next highlight. One update since you were last here. Ali Ramadan has picked up a yellow card for Chaka Traore. Might briefly be able to get possession back for us there off the back of that deflection, but Man City are still in possession and on the attack there. Nice ball over for Nets. We'll put this into the mixer. We headed away, and Kalen Rakasan could give us a chance potentially here to launch a counter-attack. Just holds play up there with Basaroge, and we try and get something going here down this left-hand side. Chaka in for Rakasan. Wonderful ball for Zimmerman, but also a very good save there from Van der Voort. Kalen Rakasan looks like he's pulling the strings like a tampon thief out there at the moment, but unfortunately nothing doing at the moment off the subsequent corner. We'll just wait here and see if we can create one more chance off of this highlight right on the edge of the box, but a good slide tackle there on Zimmerman. We are still 2-0 up, just shy of halftime. And shortly off the back of that previous highlight, it's a throw in to Man City right on the halfway line, but we do deal with that through Levan Tam, albeit we're trying to play out from the back there. Just looked a little bit iffy briefly, but we do get possession under control eventually, and it looks like we might try and get something going here down our left-hand side. Chaka will try and go past his man, but that's a little bit of a loose touch from him there, and Man City back on the attack, and Erling Haaland is in behind. We'll put that into the left corner, and it gives them a chance here. They are now only 1 goal behind just before half-time, and we know how deadly Man City can be with their attacking threats like Haaland and Adeyemi. Good assist there from Ansu Fati. Our defence doesn't quite pick that up, both Basaroge and Filippo Donelli. That will make it 2-1, and I think we're going to make an early substitution here as well. I do not like a centre-back on a yellow card, so just to be safe here, Gaetano de Prisco will come on for Ramadan with 5 minutes left here in the first half as we hold a 2-1 lead. And a few minutes off the back of that goal to Man City, it's a free kick here for them. They try and put that far post. Kenny Boreal will deal with that. Not too sure how important that substitution of De Prisco is going to be, because now Filippo Donelli has picked up a yellow card. Will Lervik tries to clear that away, but straight to a Man City player, albeit that time under a bit more pressure than he was in the previous highlight. And Man City now play that back to Van der Voort, and will try and get something going, and they're looking for an equaliser here before half-time, and Adeyemi just holds play up here. Yusuf Demir on the right wing back in for Adeyemi, tries to curve that top left corner. It comes off the post, and thankfully Donelli on that yellow card does win the ball before Erling Haaland can tap that in, and we go into the sheds with a 2-1 lead. Happy with the start to that half, but Man City certainly got on top of us there in the latter stages of that half. So I think half time there came at the perfect time. We won't make any changes just yet, seeing as we have already made one there in the first half. We'll tell the boys they're doing well, can do a little bit better to hopefully take charge of this match. And we'll also just start to employ some of our time-wasting tactics a little bit. We'll tell the boys to be a bit more disciplined and regroup instead of counter-press, slow down the pace with goalkeeper distribution. So hopefully we're a bit more solid defensively as Man City, as I said. Finished that first half off quite strongly, but we are still ahead here 2-1 starting off the second half. And about 7 minutes into the second half, Man City do have a corner. Thankfully, Dumbia, I think, just clears that away from the box, albeit that goes back in for Louis. His header goes over the bar. We are still 1 goal up here, 10 minutes into the second half, albeit before we can just pause things there. I was briefly thinking about taking off Chaka on a 6.5, but we do have a goal kick, thankfully. We keep possession from it, and hopefully we can launch an attack here. And Chaka is on the ball down the left-hand side, plays that one back for Basaro Gay Dumbia for Saki. Can we get a chance here to extend the lead? Some good play. Adam Saki puts that bottom right corner, but we'll just hold on here before we celebrate, because I think Nicholas Zimmerman there might have been offside, as Liverpool looked like they're going to make their way through to the quarters there against Ostende, but unfortunately there is an offside. It was actually Saki, so that is a little bit disappointing there, because I thought if anyone was offside it would have been Zimmerman, and indeed he's probably just a foot offside there. It was a good chance, we won't take it. Still up by 1 goal here 10 minutes into the second half. And a few minutes off the back of that goal, which was ruled out for offside, we are going to make that sub, which we did talk about before, Chaka on a 6.4, so we will make that change. Jonata to come on for him. That's 2 of our subs used, and we are a goal up with a half hour left. And we go forward now to the 65-minute mark, and we do get possession back there nicely through Lassana Dumbia, and hopefully we can get on top here. Good chance for Jonata off the bench, but hits that straight at Van der Voort. We'll see if anything does come from the subsequent corner. We have 1 sub left in this game. I'm just going to hold on to it until I feel safe that Denali isn't going to get sent off, as Basaro Gay there clears that out for a throw-in off an attacking corner, which is interesting. And we are still up 2-1 with 20 minutes left. And now we make our way into the last 20 minutes, and we have another throw-in here inside of Manchester City's half. The Prisco playing this one back to Husavik. We pump this deep, don't win the ball back though. Kunde will get that for Man City, and it is now Hamilton on the ball. Will play a ball forward, but hopefully one of our players does win that before Haaland can, and we do get on the attack here again. Fairly shortly off the back of that ball, finding the feet of Husavik. Lassana Dumbia, a nice ball out here for Jonata. Had a big chance before off of the bench, and he is on the attack here yet again inside the box. Gets off his shot, puts it inside the far post, and that might be the cushion goal, which makes sure that we make our way through to the quarterfinals of the Champions League and finally get a win against Manchester City, the team which did beat us in the final last season. Jonata with some good bench impact, good chance before, and that finishes just inside that far post. And we are 3-1 up here with just about 15 minutes left. And off the back of that goal, we are going to start time wasting a little bit more. Tell the boys to do that time wasting sometimes, and hopefully we can bring this home with that 2-goal advantage. And we are inside the last 10 minutes of this one, coming up to the 85-minute mark. It seems like some of the changes we made at halftime are just nullifying Man City a little bit. With that in mind, we don't want to risk a late red card. Filippo Dinelli will come off. Galtason will come on for him. We can put Basaro Gay at centre back instead of Dinelli, so that is quite a useful switch. But it does look like this game is about to end, and finally we get a win over Manchester City, and that means that they are out of the Champions League in 2034 after the first knockout round, and we continue on to the quarterfinals, and that is a massive confidence boost going into those quarters and the latter stages of the Champions League, because finally we have a win against Man City. It was getting a little bit tight there at halftime. They grabbed a goal back, and it did look like they could potentially get an equaliser there right before halftime, but thankfully we held on and then got the crucial goal to give us a cushion there in the second half through Jonata off the bench, and we beat Man City in the end 5-3 on aggregate, and that is down to that 3-1 win there in the second leg, and we are in to the quarterfinals of the Champions League. So we'll come back shortly and do the draw for that as well. as the semi-finals before we have a bit of a transfer update. And before we can get into that quarterfinal and semi-final draw for the Champions League this season, a quick update, of course, yesterday when we updated you guys on what happened before that first leg, Kalen Rakasan, we promised him that we would make the latter stages of the Champions League this season after denying that bid from Manchester City. And thankfully, with that win over City there in the first knockout round, we have now accomplished that goal. So he is happy to stay at Völsungur. So Kalen Rakasan's little Kevin Durant phase looks like it has ended after we did get past that first knockout round. So that must be as far as you need to go to get past that latter stages objective here in these saves in FM22. But Kalen Rakasan is happy to stay at the club. And not too long off the back of that news item about Kalen Rakasan, we are about to take part here in the draw for the quarterfinal and semi-finals of the Champions League, those 6 teams who qualified before we played on our match day, as well as us and Liverpool here in this quarterfinal draw. They will pop up here down in the bottom. I think there is one team there which looks a bit weaker than the rest, with all due respect to them, and that is Benfica. So hopefully we can get those guys. That may potentially make up for that win from Partizan over Man City, which did dump Man City into that second pot to begin with going in to that first knockout round. But apart from that, all of the other teams are very, very good ones. But off the back of that win against Man City, it's fair to say we are not fearing anyone here in this first knockout round. First out of the hat are Arsenal, and they will get Benfica. So there goes our preferred opposition. And now it's just seeing who we do get out of the rest of these teams. Next up is Manchester United, and they will get Barcelona. So that leaves Bayern, Liverpool, or PSG. We know we can beat Bayern. We beat them a few seasons ago in the quarterfinals, so that is probably the preferred opposition there, but all 3 teams are very good. And next out of the hat is Bayern Munich, and we get them, thankfully. So there's a team which we know we can beat, so hopefully we can do the job against those guys again in the quarterfinals, just like we did 2 seasons ago. And that means that the last tie of the quarterfinals is going to be PSG versus Liverpool. So coming up in tomorrow's episode, Bayern Munich in the quarterfinals, but we'll also do the semi-final draw while we are here. It will be the winner of Man United or Barcelona versus Arsenal or Benfica. So that means that if we get past Bayern Munich, we are taking on the winner of PSG or Liverpool. So if we make our way to the final this season, we have certainly had a tough time of it after having to get past Juventus in the group stage and then Manchester City in that first knockout round. But in tomorrow's episode, as I said, we will have Bayern Munich in the quarterfinals. But before we do wrap up today's episode, we are going to update things transfer-wise, what we have done off the back of the window opening since yesterday's episode. And as you can see, in terms of insofar, we haven't done much. We usually wait until we get knocked out of Europe so we can actually move on some more serious players if we need to. As well, from our first rotation, we did sign a player called Calvin Owusu for £775,000. He did look like he might be quite promising out of Ghana. His 4-star potential, which isn't bad, but he's only 2-star current ability. He's a player which we're probably going to loan out and see if he can develop at another Icelandic club. But I thought that was a good deal for quite a low fee there. Calvin Owusu for £775,000. A striker come right winger who has some decent attributes and a fair bit of potential as well. We have signed him off of Asante Kotoko in Ghana after a few decent seasons there, but we have got rid of quite a few players as well, albeit most of them players who were getting towards the 21 mark in terms of their age and weren't quite fulfilling their potential as much as we had hoped. We decided we'd move those guys on, seeing as they probably weren't going to develop too much more here with the quality that we do have in our squad. Players like Vandro, he has gone back to Brazil to Flamengo. We sold him there for £78,000. That is after we picked him up back in 2030 on a free transfer. So that's not a bad deal there at all for a player who very, very really played for us. Alongside that, we've got Milito Rosic. He's a player which we signed off last season's next gen list. Didn't have much potential, especially as we have quite a few options who we also signed off of that next gen list at wingback as well. We have offloaded him to HK for £40,000. We make a big loss on that deal, but don't mind that quite as much, seeing as he does go to a fellow Icelandic team. And as well as that, going to HK, Paul Valdemarsson. He scored our goal of the season a few seasons ago here at Völsungur, a homegrown talent. We have sold him to HK as well. He goes there for £525,000. We have also got rid of a young goalkeeper that we did have at the club in Thomas Bolbinson. He goes to Phil Keir, only had 2.5-star potential. He goes there for £5,000, could rise up to £10,000. And surrounding that, we have also loaned out quite a few players to Icelandic clubs as well, and most of those clubs are in European qualifying for this upcoming season as well. So hopefully they can help those teams get into the latter stages of those qualifying rounds and maybe into the group stages of European competitions. But there's a few more updates that we can give you guys in terms of transfers. We have got a player who is going to be joining us at the end of June on a free transfer. We have got him off of Chelsea, and this is Agustin Agatigare. He is an Argentinian 23-year-old, 2.5-star current ability, but 4.5-star potential. I thought he would be a really good get for us as a potential backup player, albeit he's quite similar in terms of attributes to someone like Nicholas Zimmerman. So he could actually put pressure on Zimmerman for that starting role at right wing. He is a foreigner, which I suppose is the only slight downside to this transfer, but on a free with that potential and those attributes. I thought that was quite a good deal getting him to Völsungur here on a free transfer after not getting much game time since joining Chelsea from River Plate since he did arrive in this Save universe. So he is a player who will be joining us going into the next European season. We also nearly signed quite a promising right winger out of Turkey as well, and that would have been this guy Guvan Kivank. He was initially at Antalyaspor in Turkey. He had a release clause of £14 million. It was us, PSG, and then Leicester who went in for him. In the end, he chose Leicester, not because they have Champions League football. They were the only team out of the three bidding on him who didn't have European football, but in the end, it was because they offered him a release clause. So that was an interesting decision. You would think he wouldn't need that if he came to a club with Champions League football, but as you can see, he would have been a great get, especially for £14 million, and would be quite an upgrade on Nicholas Zimmerman as well. In the end, it's not too big a deal, I suppose, because he would have been a foreign player and we would struggle to get him in with our foreign player limit for domestic games. But you look at his ability and his potential, that would have been one heck of a transfer, especially now that he has gone to Leicester and is valued at £96 million. And also being 18 years old, newly 18 years old, he would have been a player who could have become homegrown at club and in nation as well. So that was one deal that I was hoping we would get over the line, but in the end, for some reason, he chose Leicester over both us and PSG, although I do think in the end it was more of a toss-up between us and Leicester for this guy, which is a little bit disappointing. Not quite sure why he chose Leicester over us, especially because we offered him a star player contract and a fair bit of money as well, but hopefully he doesn't turn into the one that got away, even though he does look very, very promising there, does Guvan Kivank. But that's the transfer business, which we have done so far, obviously considering that we do need to keep some players in the squad for these European competitions, and we'll probably do a bit more business once we do get knocked out of Europe, or hopefully once we do win the Champions League this season. But that will do it for today's episode. We finally beat Manchester City and we make our way through to the quarterfinals of the Champions League, and coming up in tomorrow's episode, we'll play against Bayern Munich in those quarterfinals. I'm a little bit busy this week, so we might only come back again for the first leg of those quarterfinals and do the second leg at the end of this week. I'll just see how we get on. It doesn't look like there's a lot of games in between now and then, but if we get past Proto Reykjavik, as you would expect, in our next game, we will also have a semi-final and final of that League Cup before we do get into the first leg of that Champions League quarterfinal. So hopefully I can get through both legs, but there's probably a good chance I'll only get through the first one, especially as then I'd also need to get through a semi-final before the end of the week, and I'm not too sure if I'll get quite that far through the game before then. So probably over the next few days, we'll divide up this quarterfinal and play it over 2 episodes. But if you did enjoy that win there over Manchester City, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying this series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. And until tomorrow, as I said, probably for just the first leg of that quarterfinal against Bayern Munich, thank you very much for watching. Keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.